Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva, in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukdev Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So immediately next up, His Holiness Romapada Swami will speak the Bhagavad Gita, the Transcendental Gita on Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Immediately after that, we'll be starting the Maha Abhishek of Sri Sri Radha Krishna. Immediately after the Maha Abhishek of Sri Sri Radha Krishna, some closing announcements, and in the wonderful midnight arti of Sri Sri Radha-Govinda-Temple, and prasadam will be served to everyone in attendance. A free feast is being offered. It'll be served at 12:15 tonight. If you'd like prasad in the meantime, you can go to the bottom hall in the basement. They have wonderful selection of prasad for donation. Thank you very, very much. So again, we humbly request everybody to be careful, first of all. We ask everybody to turn off your mobile phone, put it on vibrate during the speaking portions, so that we offer proper respect to the devotees that are presenting these wonderful pastimes of Krishna and the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Krishna Vallabha Girivardhari Krishna Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Saranandana, Brajajanandana. Yasodanandana, Brajajanandana. Brajajanandana. Yamanatira, Vanatadi. Jamanatira Vanatadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kanya Vihari Kanya Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Janarandana Jasodanandana Braja Janarandana Rajajan Jamanatira Vanachadi Jamanatira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kanya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanya Bihari Shri Radha-Govinda-Temple ki Shri Krishna Janmastami Mahamahotsav ki Gaur Premanandi. Looking for Romapada to find out what my cutoff time is. Romapada, are you here? You went upstairs. So I've got the whole night. I was told 9:45 until 10:20, but it's now it's 3 minutes after 10. So end at 10:20? While the cat's away, the mice will play, right? Well, he was giving me 35 minutes. 35 minutes. So
Take the 35.
35. Thank you all for coming to this wonderful festival. Chandrasekhar Swami, you're a very elevated devotee. Big devotee. We're all at your feet. You're even higher than Radha-Govinda. Almost. So, very amazing drama, wasn't it? Very, very special. And the particular section when the Gopis were feeling separation from Krishna, so they were sitting together and singing songs about Krishna and remembering Krishna's pastimes. By that absorption, the narrator was saying they actually felt that they saw Krishna. In fact, they saw Krishna because Krishna appears in the heart of one who wishes very much for his association and has become purified by that remembrance of Krishna. And that's exactly what I wanted to speak about this evening. Coincidence. Because the appearance of Krishna happens at midnight. And before the midnight appearance of Krishna, Krishna appears within the womb of Devaki. And the demigods come into the prison house of Kamsa, playing kettle drums and different musical instruments and reciting beautiful prayers in honor of Krishna, who is within the womb of Devaki. And Devaki comments to Vasudeva, there's these musical instruments and sounds like brahmanas offering beautiful prayers and Sanskrit poetry. What is that wonderful sound? And Nanda says, I think it's the demigods who come to honor Krishna, who is within your womb. And before Krishna comes to that position, Krishna is transferred to the heart, and before that to the mind, from the mind of Vasudeva. So that's what I wanted to speak about. Krishna making his, before he appeared in the prison house of Kamsa, he appeared in the mind, the purified mind of Vasudeva. I was inspired by a verse that we were reading recently in a temple I was visiting, where Canto 4, Chapter 3, it's Lord Shiva, not just Brahma heading up the demigods, but Lord Shiva is offering prayers to the personality of Godhead, speaking to Parvati. And the Sanskrit language that he uses is exactly in fitting with Krishna appearing in the mind of Vasudeva. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. Vasudeva Shabditam, he who is known as Vasudeva. Vasudeva is the father, and Vasudeva is the son of Vasudeva, appears where there's Shuddha Sattva, or Vasudeva Sattva. Same, they mean the same thing. Shuddha, excuse me, Shuddha means pure, and Shuddha Sattva means goodness that's pure, not tainted by any, even a tinge, even a touch, a drop of passion or ignorance. That's goodness that's Shuddha. That's the spiritual platform, Shuddha Sattva, or Vasudeva Sattva. And Vasudeva is the name of the person, father of Krishna, who, like the Gopis, his rasa was different. His rasa was parental affection. And not only was parental affection, but there was a strong feeling of majesty, of the Aishvarya of the Supreme Lord. So, as we know, Krishna reciprocates with the regard that the living entity has for him. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. Yayatam mam prapadyante. Prapadyante means surrender. As they prapadyante, as they regard Krishna, he reciprocates. So Vasudeva, later when Krishna appeared, he told Vasudeva, I gave my promise and I'm showing you this four-armed form so that you'll know I'm keeping my promise. The promise was, I will appear 3 lifetimes with your wife as your son. But you wanted a son like me. But there's nobody like me. I'm one of a kind. And so I've appeared in my four-armed form just so that you know it's not just your small child, but I'm the personality of Godhead. Now, there's this wonderful position of the residents of Mathura, Vasudeva and Devaki, chief amongst them. Sometimes they see Krishna in majesty, and sometimes they see Krishna not in majesty, but just the affection of mother and father. As we saw in Vrindavana, majesty is eclipsed with the sweetness of love. But Vasudeva and Devaki, they're not residents of Vrindavana, they're residents of Mathura. So, for tens of thousands of years during Satya Yuga, they underwent devotional austerity and practice so that their heart became Vasudeva Sattva or Shuddha Sattva, completely pure. Completely pure means they only wanted one thing. And the one thing they wanted was the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, according to their rasa, the rasa of parental affection. That's all they wanted. There wasn't anything else going on for them, that one thing. So Krishna reciprocated 3 lifetimes. In the beginning of this chapter 2, I want to read 3 verses. In the beginning of chapter 2, which is the prayers of the demigods, but before that, Vasudeva receives Krishna in his mind. In the introduction, Prabhupada makes a very interesting, I found it very interesting, remark, that the body of Vasudeva and Devaki, they're eternal associates. It's not a post that someone can occupy. They're eternal associates. They're Satchitananda personalities, perfected souls. And so he indicates that the two previous births, that is Sutapa and Prishni, and Kashyapa and Aditi, they're partial expansions of Vasudeva and Devaki. Now how Vasudeva and Devaki can make a partial expansion, he doesn't explain. Partial expansions. They're not a living entity became another living entity, because why would they take birth again? It's for fulfilling a transcendental desire to have the transcendental Supreme Lord as their son. So after the first 6, we all know this, you hear it every Janmastami. After the first 6 sons of Devaki were killed mercilessly by Kamsa, the 7th child of Devaki was within the womb of Devaki, and Krishna invited Yogamaya, his own pastime potency, Yogamaya, to come and assist him. She was very happy. Yes, some service. He gave her 3 services. First, this child that's in the womb of Devaki, please transfer this child. He is Sankarshan. He is Balaram. He's very heavy, but you can do it. I'll give you the power to do it. You can transfer him to the side, to the womb of Rohini. And Balaram became Rohini Nandana. That was service number 1. Service number 2. You take birth as the daughter of Yashoda, and I will take birth as the 8th son of Devaki. After I am born, I'll arrange for Vasudeva to carry you to the other side of the river Jamuna, to Gokul, where Yashoda is. We'll do a child switch. He'll place me by the side of Yashoda and bring you back here to the prison house of Kamsa. That was service number 2. And then Kamsa will come, he'll try to kill you. But don't worry, you're my potency, he can't kill you. And when he fails to do so, your 3rd service is you'll be known throughout the land. You expand yourself in various places throughout the land, and you'll be worshipped as Durga and her various expansions. Very interesting. So, the verse previous to the 3 that I want to read explains Yogamaya did like that. Krishna appeared as Yogamaya appeared as the daughter of Yashoda, and Krishna appeared within the mind, the purified mind of Vasudeva. Just like Krishna appeared in the mind of the Gopis, because their minds were fully pure. Vasudeva's mind was fully pure, and Krishna made his appearance in his mind. The very next verse is Vasudeva became effulgent. It says effulgent like the sun, so brilliant like the sun, one could not even see him. Kamsa couldn't see him, ordinary people couldn't see him, because Krishna was within his mind. His form was manifest. Sometimes we see in paintings of saints, they like putting some effulgence around them. There's a reason. If they're in a pure state of consciousness, then they're not enlightened, so to speak. They're enlightened by the light of the presence of the personality of Godhead. Because he has effulgence, and the effulgence is his effulgence. That's the enlightened state. And then it describes, the third verse describes that Vasudeva, they desire, Vasudeva and Devaki desire to have Krishna as their son. Now, Krishna can become their son however he wants to. He doesn't need anything. But because of their parental affection, he appeared as if he was human. So the combination of male and female was quite different than how conception normally takes place. It's described specifically, it was like initiation, or it was initiation. From the mind of Vasudeva, Krishna was transferred into the mind of Devaki, and from the mind of Devaki into the heart of Devaki. Now Krishna is already in the heart. She was already thinking of Krishna. And Krishna is already there, even if someone isn't thinking of Krishna. But the message is, she became conscious of the fact that by Krishna's mercy, he was fulfilling his promise that he will take birth as their son because they have parental affection. And in fact, it's like that with Krishna's pastimes. He manifests a form specifically and explicitly in reciprocation with the particular affection that the devotee has for him. The residents of Vrindavana, as we saw in this wonderful drama, they have affection for Krishna that's overwhelmed with sweetness. Now when there's so many nice details. I'm just waiting for Romapada to come in the door and look at his watch and point to his watch and say that he's done. Till he comes. When Krishna appeared in the mind of Vasudeva and then in the mind and heart of Devaki, both times it's mentioned, he appeared in his fullness. Now there's different expansions of Krishna in his Paramatma feature. For example, we find in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am situated in the heart of every living being. Hridaya Arjuna Tishtati. Krishna is in the heart. But it's an expansion of Krishna that doesn't exhibit the fullness of Krishna. The Paramatma feature oversees the affairs of the material energy. That's Paramatma feature. And then there's the Bhagavan feature, where Krishna manifests all of his six opulences in fullness. That's mentioned specifically in the language of these verses. Maybe I should read the verses. The fullness of the opulences of Bhagavan. But in the fullness of the opulences of Bhagavan are in each of the expansions. The technical Sanskrit languages, Angsa and Angsa Kala. What is that? A plenary portion or a portion of a plenary portion. Have you ever been confused by that kind of language when you read it in Prabhupada's books? What's he talking about? A portion of a plenary portion. Well, Balaram, just like in the drama, Balaram is Krishna's direct expansion. That's plenary expansion. And there's expansions of that plenary expansion that aren't of the same fullness as Balaram, like Narayana and the forms in Vaikuntha, Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, for example. They're not of the same fullness as Balaram, and so forth. All of those features were within Krishna when he appeared in the mind of Vasudeva and the mind of Devaki. So when he exhibited his four-armed form, it was for a purpose. He said the purpose, so that you won't mistake, I'm just your son. I'm God. I promised you I would appear. Here I am. I'm fulfilling my promise. But his promise is a reciprocation with the desire of his pure devotee. Just as the Gopis had a similar but different idea or desire to see that sweetness feature of Krishna. And the cows, and the cowherd boys, and just as we heard, the clouds, and everything of Goloka Vrindavan has this sweetness, Mathura. The rasa may be a cowherd boy or a cow or a peacock or a whatever. Infused within that particular type of love for Krishna is a sweetness feature. That sweetness feature is so strong, it eclipses the majesty feature. And that's the form that appeared in the mind of Vasudeva and Devaki, but he showed them his four-armed form. And it's very beautiful. And I'll end after the very beautiful message, because I know it's important to keep the Abhishek on time. When Krishna appeared, all the various features of Krishna were within him. He exhibited what Vasudeva and Devaki wished to see. But what did Devaki say? Devaki said, Kamsa will soon come to know that my 8th son has been born. And he'll come here and try to kill you. So could you assume a childlike form? Because then we can try to hide you. Is that rational? Not at all rational. It's devotional. Because she has parental affection, she's giving a nice reason out of her love that she wants to protect. You know, there's his club and there's his Sudarshan chakra. That comes to try to get Vishnu. There's the club and there's his Sudarshan chakra, finished. They're devotees. They know the power of Lord Vishnu. And he's showing their form, saying, I want you to know that I'm God. She's asking, please assume a childlike form so that we can hide you, so Kamsa can't come and give you any harm. It's very irrational. But Krishna wanted that because he wanted to then be taken away from Kamsa to be with Nanda and Yashoda. 12 years later, 12 years plus later, Krishna came back to Mathura and he killed Kamsa and Kuvalyapita and Chandra and Mushtaka and their brothers. And then what did Krishna do? He went to the prison house of Kamsa and released Vasudeva and Devaki. According to Uddhava, Krishna then apologized. Said, I'm very sorry. I was away from you for so long, and I gave you so much tribulation being away from you. But what could I do? I was afraid of Kamsa. Uddhava says, when Krishna speaks like that and does things as if he's an ordinary person, it gives me so much pain. Because ordinary people, when they hear such things, they think, yes, he's ordinary, he's like us. He has fear of Kamsa, and so he goes and hides from Kamsa. It gives me great pain. That's Uddhava's love. Uddhava sees the majesty, and he wants the world to know, as grandfather Bhishma wants the world to know. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let the Shishupals of the world not like it. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's a Kshatriya, and Uddhava's a minister. It gives me great pain. Devaki is, please assume the form of a child, so Kamsa can't come and harm you. The uniqueness of each devotee's love is reciprocated by Krishna. And Krishna Janmastami is a wonderful time throughout the whole evening, throughout the whole day, of hearing and describing the qualities of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, the names of Krishna, the beautiful form of Krishna, and now the Abhishek of Krishna with Kirtan. So, let your minds become purified, come to the Vasudeva Sattva or Shuddha Sattva position, at least closer, by this kind of celebration. Join the Kirtan, take part in the Abhishek, beautiful, beautiful form of Radha-Govinda, and in about an hour and a half, midnight arti. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Radha-Govinda ki. So, I think we'll begin the Kirtan, and those who are doing the Abhishek can take it away.